Samantha had never believed in fate, but that night, as the cold December wind swirled around the dimly lit streets of Charleston, she couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary was about to happen. She arrived at the small, cozy restaurant tucked between the historic brick buildings, clutching her coat tightly, nerves twisting in her stomach. The city lights reflected off the wet pavement, giving the streets an almost ethereal glow. Samantha thought it was just a simple date with someone she had met online, a man named Jonathan who seemed charming, polite, and entirely unremarkable at first glance. She had no idea that this evening would leave her breathless, not from romance but from awe, wonder, and an unshakable sense of something miraculous. Before the date had even begun, she felt the tension of her own life pressing down on her. Samantha had spent years pouring herself into work, surviving long nights at a hospital as a nurse, caring for patients she often didn't have time to know, and burying her loneliness under endless tasks. Love had felt like a distant luxury, something that happened to other people, until she met Jonathan. He appeared like a calm presence in her chaotic world, polite, attentive, and, most importantly, easy to talk to. As they ordered their meals and exchanged polite laughter, she felt the first flutter of hope, the faint spark that maybe life had a way of surprising her. If this story resonates with you, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, especially if you believe in kindness and second chances. The dinner progressed with ease, the kind of evening that seems ordinary, almost too perfect in its simplicity. But Samantha had no way of knowing that beneath Jonathan's calm demeanor lay a hidden world she couldn't even imagine. Halfway through the meal, a sudden crash shattered the quiet intimacy of the evening. A man outside had tripped, falling hard against the icy sidewalk. Samantha's instinct was immediate. She wanted to run to him, help him. But before she could move, Jonathan had already disappeared. Within seconds, she saw him through the window, a shadow against the night, pulling the man to safety, stabilizing him with a precision that seemed impossible. Her eyes widened. How could he move like that? It was almost inhuman. As she hurried outside, heart pounding, Jonathan returned, his calm smile unshaken, as though nothing had happened. "Are you all right?" he asked, concern in his voice, yet there was a strange weight behind his words, a depth she couldn't yet place. Samantha could barely find her voice, overwhelmed by the realization that she had just witnessed someone extraordinary. Not a superhero, not a police officer, but an ordinary man with skills she couldn't explain. Jonathan's life had not been easy. A widowed single dad, he had raised his 8-year-old son Lucas, alone in a modest Charleston home. He had once been a professional in private security, trained in techniques most civilians could never comprehend, working in shadows where life and death decisions were routine. After his wife's sudden death years ago, he left that world behind for the quiet life he hoped to give his son, a life of safety, stability, and love. Yet the world didn't always allow one to completely leave the past behind. Samantha found herself intrigued, hesitant yet drawn to Jonathan in ways she hadn't anticipated. As they walked back to the restaurant, she noticed the small signs of his dual existence. The disciplined way he carried himself, the watchful eyes constantly scanning the environment, the careful yet precise gestures that betrayed years of unseen training. She tried to make small talk, to ignore the tension that seemed to hum in the air, but every glance at Jonathan reminded her that she was in the presence of someone who had lived a life she could barely fathom. Over the weeks that followed, their connection deepened, yet the shadows of Jonathan's past always lingered. He remained careful, protective, and even secretive at times, teaching Samantha patience, empathy, and the quiet strength that comes from truly knowing another human being. Samantha, for her part, began to open her heart in ways she hadn't allowed herself in years. She realized that love wasn't always about grand gestures or perfect nights. It was about trust, understanding, and the willingness to face life's darkest corners with someone by your side. Then came the night that would change everything. Jonathan received a frantic call late in the evening, and Samantha watched as he transformed from the gentle, kind man she knew into something sharper, faster, and impossibly precise. Without explanation, he whisked her to the edge of his world, revealing a hidden skill set that seemed to come from a life she had never known existed. He moved like a shadow, fluid and undetectable, rescuing someone in danger, navigating the city streets with a grace that defied logic. Samantha felt fear, awe, and a deep sense of admiration all at once. Here was a man who had lived in the shadows, yet his heart remained luminous, devoted to his son, and now to her in a quiet, unspoken way. Samantha came to understand that the world we see is only part of the story. Jonathan's life, full of hidden expertise and unspoken battles, was not meant for show. Yet he chose to reveal it to her, trusting her with a part of himself that had been forged in fire, loss, and relentless responsibility. She felt honored, moved and humbled by the weight of that trust. It was in that moment, as she watched Jonathan protect and navigate the danger with unwavering focus, that Samantha realized love could be more than comfort. It could be courage, vulnerability, and the quiet heroism found in everyday life. Months passed, and Samantha and Jonathan's relationship grew into a partnership built on respect, admiration, and mutual care. She had learned patience, the strength of empathy, and the profound impact of believing in someone's character even when it was cloaked in shadows. Lucas, Jonathan's young son, flourished under Samantha's influence, the three of them forming a family not born of circumstance but of choice, love, and resilience. The memory of that night, the crash, the shadows, the unseen heroism, remained a turning point, a moment where Samantha realized that extraordinary people often live ordinary lives, and that extraordinary lives often touch ours in ways we never anticipate. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, and share this video. Let us know in the comments how kindness, courage, and second chances have changed your life, or even inspired you to take a risk on love and trust. Before the story ends, I want to ask you to comment below your thoughts. How would you react if someone revealed a hidden part of themselves that completely changed your perception of them? Samantha's journey reminds us that life is full of surprises, and sometimes the person who seems ordinary carries within them the power to change the world, or at least your world. In the quiet evenings that followed, Samantha often found herself reflecting on the strange twist of fate that brought her to Jonathan. She realized that life's true magic often arrives when we least expect it, disguised in ordinary forms, waiting for someone willing to notice, to believe, and to embrace it. And as she held Lucas's hand, watched Jonathan prepare dinner with calm precision, and felt the warmth of a family she never thought she'd have, she understood that some moments of love and courage are far more profound than a simple date. They are revelations of the heart, lessons in bravery, and whispers from life reminding us that kindness and heroism often dwell quietly in those we least expect. That night, as the Charleston skyline shimmered against the water, Samantha felt gratitude so deep it left her speechless. She had come to what she thought was a simple date, and discovered an entire world hidden in plain sight, a world of courage, of shadows turned into light, of love born from resilience, and the extraordinary power of one person's choices. She knew that whatever challenges awaited them in the future, they would face them together, their bond strengthened by the shadows they had crossed and the light they had embraced. And in that moment, Samantha understood that life's most remarkable gifts often appear in the most ordinary of evenings, waiting for hearts brave enough to notice.